and welcome to my channel. I am Andrea and you're very welcome to Beyond the Pink Door. So I'm here today to take part in the Show Us Your Stash 2020 challenge. So this is a friendly, non-competitive challenge started by Shan of Kittenish Behaviour and Danny of Pocket or Two. There's no prizes, it's just a bit of crack, as we say here in Ireland. So it's just a matter of, we have prompts. I have them written down because I wouldn't remember them, and I'm using my phone to record today. So we have a couple of prompts just to be having a little nosy look into each other's stashes. So the first prompt is, and I will say, I feel I'm quite late doing this, but I had to really think about all these prompts because it's not that I have a massive amount of fabric. I don't have a big fabric stash at all. I tend to get very excited when I get fabric and I just have to make it. So, but there are a lot of my fabrics that fall into so many categories. So I am going to start with my favourite fabric. So at the moment, because this changes, my favourite fabric is this. So this is a fabric I saw on Emily Hallman Designs Instagram page, and she has made the most glorious dress with it. And when I saw it, I just had to have it. I have shown it back in March, I think. I searched and searched and searched to get this fabric, and eventually it popped up on the Lamazi Fabrics website, and I hopped off the sofa to run and order it because I just knew it wasn't going to last on their shelves. So it is absolutely beautiful. I have 2.5 meters of it. I'm still dithering and withering over what to make with it. It's quite fine, it's really floaty. I've had all these ideas, and I'm actually thinking of going to make a Valerie dress, and if you follow me here and watch my videos, you know I just love the Valerie dress, and I revisited that dress last week, made a skirt, tried on my versions, and I just love the dress. I just love the fit of it. I love everything about the dress. So I think it's destined for that. Yeah, I totally and utterly love it. I want to make it into something that I'm going to wear a lot, basically, because I really love this fabric. So this could also fall into the scared to cut into, don't have a clue. I have a bit more of a clue now. So the next prompt then is oldest fabric. Now I have been sewing for more years than I care to admit. We're going into 40 years of sewing. So I think if I looked at home, in my home, my mum and dad's house, there would probably still be fabric there. But my oldest fabric I have here at the moment is a piece of fabric I bought to make my daughter something when she was very little. Now I bought the pattern, I bought the fabric, and she's 17 now. So it's sitting since she was possibly about 2, but yeah, loads of things got in the way. I had very ambitious ideas of having this lovely handmade wardrobe for her, which never happened. So I think it's what we would have called a cheesecloth, and it's embroidered in 3 different tones of pinks. And I had this lovely pattern of a little pair of trousers and like a little boxy top with little tie pulls on the shoulders. It was going to be gorgeous. She was going to be gorgeous in it. And I found it when I was doing the rejig of my sewing room amongst another couple of fabrics, and I thought, right, you know what, we have to make something with that because it's just so cute. The next fabric is the Scare to Cut Into fabric. Now I don't usually have a problem with fabric. I don't mind cutting into them if they don't turn out right. You know what, I don't really mind. And I suppose I've had to make a huge effort to think about Scared to Cut Into. I can only say that I'm slightly scared to cut into, and it's this fabric here. It's like a Chanel-esque fabric. I got it from Anne-Marie in the Crafty Studio, and I do have plans to make a jacket. So I think it's going to be the Cocoa jacket from Sew Over It, and it's absolutely gorgeous fabric. There's like a little goldy thread in it as well. And the only reason that I might be scared to cut into it is that it's got quite an open weave to it. So I think when I cut it, I'm going to have to possibly put another piece of fabric underneath it to keep all the threads together, or I'm going to have to iron on a light interfacing. So that to me is, yeah, that's to me is the one that I'm scared to cut into, because I feel I'm going to have to use it and make it fairly immediately. And yeah, but it's not a huge fear to cut into, to be perfectly honest. It's absolutely beautiful. And I think Anne-Marie has this like in a blackish version as well. It says black and cream and gold. So yeah, this is just beautiful. Love it. So that's going to be a project for the winter. The next prompt is, don't have a clue what to make with it. Now, I have been really good recently in that every fabric I've bought, I've had a plan. But when fabrics arrive and the plan that you had in mind don't work out, then that just throws me all together. So I have this in my stash for a while, and it's a stretchy velvet. Now, it's in a beautiful colour. It's in like greys and blue, and it's very, very stretchy. Now, I think my initial plan was to make, which sounds ridiculous because obviously you'd look at this and think, oh, that'll make a gorgeous dress, maybe, you know, with a twist front or something like that. But I like to make clothes now that I know I'm going to wear, and the plan for this was to make an I Am Patterns lion top, because I just thought this would be just really quirky and really quite different in just like a sweatshirt. So I thought it would be gorgeous with the, you know, the big mad gathered sleeves. I have the two patterns, I have the lion and the zebra, and one has a big gathered sleeve here and the other has a big gathered sleeve here. But when it arrived, I actually felt it was just, it's quite weighty. So I think it's going to be just too heavy for what I had planned. So I sort of put a halt on that mission. So that's the one. I don't have a clue what to make with that now. And I really don't want to go down the road of making a dress, because I know I'm not going to wear it that much. So yeah, it's really, really lovely. Now, the fabric with a story is, I have a lot of family in Wales. My mum and dad were from Wales, and we used to go there a lot on holidays. And at the time, I was trying to get back into sewing. So that's where I bought this lovely fabric for my daughter one year. And I was really trying to find fabric shops. We didn't have a lot of fabric shops here at the time. So we are talking about maybe 15 years ago. So my cousin actually told me that she had seen a lovely fabric shop when she was shopping one day in the town that she was going to. And she said, I'll bring you. So I thought, oh, fabulous. Can't wait to go. And when we got there, I was just so excited because I hadn't actually seen any fabrics that I liked for a long time. We only had our local Hickeys in Galway, and they had gone more into like bridal wear and wedding wear, and just to make simple clothes. There just wasn't a shop really, so I'm very excited. But when we got to the fabric shop that she had told me about, it was mostly home furnishings and bridal wear, and I was absolutely gutted, because I thought, oh gosh, you know, there's nothing here. And I just felt she had gone to so much effort to bring me there that I had to buy something, you know. So I bought this fabric, and you can see the fact that it's still folded up. It's 15 years sitting around. So really, I just bought it because I felt I had to buy something. And it is super. It's absolutely beautiful fabric. It's a crepe. For some reason, there feels like a slight bit of wool in it to me, and it's, of course, yeah, it's the colours that I love. But there's about 2 meters here, and yeah, that's why it's in my stash. And because it has quite sentimental value to me, I don't want to just make something for the sake of it. So I am just waiting for the right pattern to come along to make something. So that's my fabric with a story. I felt so bad because I really expected, you know, to come out with meterage, loads of meterage and loads of plans and loads of excitement. And I didn't want to show her how disappointed I was after she went to the effort of bringing me there. But yeah, that's my fabric with a story. And the next prompt is, where do you keep your stash? So I'm just going to put in a link up here to my sewing room reveal. So I moved sewing rooms recently. So I moved from a dark tunnel of a sewing room downstairs. Now I am really, really lucky that I have room in my house to be able to move rooms around, but I moved to this room, which used to be my daughter's room, and in here is her wardrobe. So I store all my fabric in her wardrobe, and I just absolutely love it. All my stash fits in her wardrobe. So I'll just put in a little link so you can go and have a look, and it works out lovely. I put all my fabrics on hangers so I can see them at a glance, because I used to find when they were on shelves they would get lost, and then of course you go to look for something at the bottom of the shelf and then all the ones on the top fall over, or something nice would just get lost. You completely forget. So yeah, that's where I store mine. What is the next one? Precious fabric. Now I really had to think about this one again. I don't particularly have precious fabric, but I do have something precious that belonged to my grandmother, who taught me how to sew, and I inherited all of her fabrics. Now she passed away when I was about 15, so I used all her fabrics because I was sewing crazily at the time and I loved all her fabrics. But recently I took out all of her millinery supplies, because at one stage I loved doing a bit of hat making and I loved going to classes, and I learned a lot from Lena Stein, who's an amazing milliner and an even more amazing teacher. So I went through all of my grandmother's bits and bobs from her millinery days, and I found, and it is technically fabric, so I found this felt hood. Now, Lena told me it was a Melusian. I'm not quite sure. I'll put a name down here. It's a hood to make a hat. So the idea is to buy the preformed shape. So the little tag is still on it. And then, and I could be explaining this completely wrong, it gets steamed and shaped to the size of your head. So again, look at the colour. Oh my God. I mean, obviously she never got around to doing half of these things that she had planned. She died very young. But it's like she knew what colour I'd like. So I have said to Lena that at some stage I would love to make a hat for myself out of this. So this is very, very precious, and it's absolutely perfect. There's no little holes, there's no moth bites out of it. It's completely intact. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it was stored in, this is its original little storage bag. So I have that kept with my millinery supplies, and someday I will get to make that hat for myself, and I want to do my grandmother proud and make a beautiful hat from that. And the next prompt is dream fabric. Now I honestly don't have a dream fabric. I would at some stage though love to do my own design of a fabric. So I'd love to, maybe, I have looked at the beautiful website, the Spoonflower Fabrics. So I would love to design something and have it printed and have my own fabric, just to make a skirt or a top or a dress, and for it just to be completely unique. So I would have to admit that I'm not great at design. I can make, like, if you showed me a picture and said, can you make me that dress? I could make that dress. But I always struggle with the idea of, say, the dress, if I were to design something. So I'd love to push my boundaries and just try that sometime, to come up with a design and print my own fabric at some stage. That would be like a dream. And the last prompt is fabric of your choice to share. So one of my other favourite fabrics is this beautiful fabric I got from Anne-Marie in the Crafty Studio. I think this was actually I think I bought this at the time of the Chanel inspired fabric as well. So this is a dead stock fabric, and I adore this fabric. Now I got 3 meters of this because I just had to have it, and it has the most stunning colours on it. It's got a beautiful drape to it. I think it's got there's just a little stretch to it, And yeah, I don't have massive plans. I don't have an actual concrete plan of what I want to make with it, and I actually love it so much that I want to do it some sort of really good justice. And I feel I should make something soon, coming into the summer. And with 3 meters, I have loads. So that is one of my other favourite fabrics. So I think I've gone through all my prompts and I hope you enjoyed that little insight into my fabrics. And if you would like to see other people's stashes, just search on YouTube for Show Us Your Stash 2020. There's absolutely loads. I've enjoyed immensely looking at what other people are sharing, and it's so interesting. And it's actually so interesting as well to look into your stash and pick out all your fabrics to talk about these prompts. So yeah, so thanks so much for watching as always, and I enjoy all the interaction. I love reading and replying to all the comments I get. Thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.